Hey, everybody, it's Natalie B. McKenzie with The Whole Woman, and welcome to this week's episode of Living Life Authentically with yours truly. It's almost Christmas, as you can see, and Santa's sleigh exploded over here in the whole woman world. And what do you know? All the toys are just scattered about, and I am in Christmas heaven. Some kids are going to be real happy because the whole woman team, thanks to so many of you who generously donated and support us here. Your donations to fighting atrocities against women worldwide have gone to good use. We're participating with the Bergen County Sheriff's Office this year, like we do so many years. And the Polar Express kids, we have 21 kids who have made their wish list. And what do you know? The Team TWW, along with the Tate family, came over, wrapped everything, and got it all ready. So it's a winter wonderland with the snow in the background, the Christmas tree. I wish we could have the carols going, but then you wouldn't hear me. Anywho, as you can tell, I'm about to bounce out of my seat because I had one of the most amazing weekends this past weekend, capped off by Saturday night. What did I do Saturday night? Kicking and screaming in the cold. I went to Carnegie Hall, and whoa, did the Chew Entertainment team blow it out the park. Night of Inspiration by Ray and Vivian Chu was the best it has ever been. And boy, did I leave inspired. So here I am, ready for Christmas and this week's episode of Living Life Authentically. Without further ado, let's welcome our guest. She is well, sharp, talented. Let's see, she is quite engaging, educated, fabulous CEO of Dress for Success Worldwide. She is an attorney by trade. She has a long resume, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to want to hear from her. She's also a contributor over at Yahoo News, and I'm going to have her join us so she can tell us more about herself. Help me welcome today's guest, Michelle C. Meyer-Shipp, the CEO of Dress for Success Worldwide. Welcome, Michelle.
Natalie, hi, how are you?
I am wonderful. I'm bouncing around because it's almost Christmas, so excuse me while I get my grown-up hat on.
I love it, love it. Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Such a pleasure. I'll tell a little backstory to those watching. We have been trying to get this interview going for maybe 6 or 8 weeks. And between our calendars, going on hiatus, waiting for a new opportunity here on the On New Jersey platform, we finally got it together. And I am delighted to meet you and host you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It is an absolute pleasure.
Love it. So, Michelle, before we get into Dress for Success and what you do over there and this amazing resume you have that I would need 20 minutes to go through, tell us a little bit about Michelle.
Oh,
Michelle Meyer, young Michelle growing up. Where is she from and what really influenced your life?
so I will tell you, I was born and raised, for the most part, in Brooklyn, New York. I'm the oldest of three daughters, and my amazing parents were my influencers and my inspiration all throughout, they still are all throughout my life. We moved to Westbury, Long Island when I was in middle school, and I finished out and rounded out middle school and high school in Westbury. So it's actually interesting. I think about, one of the things people say about me is that I love people and I've never met a stranger. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we moved. We moved. I went to old primary school in Brooklyn. Moved to middle school and high school in Westbury, and then after that, I actually went off to St. John's for my first year of college in Jamaica, Queens.
Well, I'm
And
going to slow you down a little bit because I want to get a little details on the sauce that went into the making of this beautiful person we see today that just
sure,
oozes and emits light and love. Tell us a little bit more about Michelle as she was growing up. What were you interested in?
yes. So I will tell you, I loved, and still love sports. Every and anything that has to do with teams and bringing people together, it energizes me. And to this day, I love anything around a team. I just find there to be such power, energy, connection, and enthusiasm around a team. When things are good, that team celebrates together. And when things aren't so great, they wrap their arms around each other and work together. So when I was in high school, actually, I played basketball, and really loved being a part of a basketball team. But, due to my vanity, thanks to a really nasty injury that ended me up with a nasty busted lip, I decided, maybe there's another way to be involved in sport that doesn't involve playing. And I became the manager of the boys basketball team. And my mom and dad used to always laugh because after every game, most of the team would end up coming over to the house. And they're like, "Do you always have to bring everybody home from the basketball team with you?" But I'm like, "These are my brothers. We go everywhere together." So that team, that aspect of team and togetherness and working together, it really always inspired me. Um, and I've also been very curious and continue to be very curious. So I like to learn about people, meet people. That's really, I think, how I ended up in a career that's all around people.
So, Michelle, I heard you earlier say you were one of three girls.
Yes.
And so you were bringing all these boys home because those are your brothers. I love the connectivity, and it says a lot about the personality. Clearly, you're very magnetic. Where do you fall in that order with your sisters?
So I'm the oldest,
Mhm.
and it's actually really funny. So my youngest sister is 16 years younger than me. And my middle sister is 3 years younger than me. And they actually call me the boss lady. And I'm really, really, really trying to relinquish that title. Um, they think I'm bossy. So I've been really trying to just kind of lay back now in my wiser years, with a little bit of wisdom on me and let them take control. But yes, if they were here, they would probably write in a chat, "Yeah, that's the boss lady."
Well, it's a little hard not to be the boss when they're 3 and 16 years
Yeah.
younger. It's like, come on. I know I'm the baby, and I have siblings that are 20 plus years older than I. So I get it. So you were really in love with sports, especially
Yeah.
basketball. You brought the team home with you. After high school, did you stay involved with sports?
I actually didn't. So I actually was in a scenario where I didn't want to have any college debt. And I didn't want to rely on my parents to pay for me to go to college. So I actually worked while I went to college for the first 2 years. And it was my way of kind of paying my way and showing a really good faith effort, to not have my parents put out the money, to not take out loans. So I was literally working my first 2 years of college and going to school at night. And I ultimately transferred, and went full time. But it kind of took me away from being engaged in sports, but I was always around sports. So whenever I could get my hand on a basketball game, a football game, etc., I was there. In fact, I'll never forget when I was at St. John's, at the time, the basketball team was really, really good. And I would never miss a game. I always had a great time being there to cheer on our guys at St. John's.
Awesome. So from St. John's, you transferred over to Rutgers University. What was your major? What was your interest? What is it you wanted to do when you grew up?
So, believe it or not, I wanted to be an FBI agent. I majored in criminal justice, and I was absolutely convinced that I was going to be an FBI agent.
And what is it that caused you to not be an FBI agent? Because as a lover of people, the two seem to not quite go together.
Well, Natalie, did I not figure that out, right? So, my first job out of college was as an undercover investigator, for a private security company. And I took that job to try out life, as a undercover. Let's just say, and you already said it, as a people person, life as an undercover for me, not it. The false alias names, the false alias backgrounds, the kind of being somewhere under a guise of being somebody you weren't. That did not go well with me. And I actually ended up making friends, really good friends with the people I was supposed to investigate. So I think that job lasted about 6 months, and I figured I needed to try a new path.
Wait a minute. How do you develop a relationship with the people you're supposed to be
Right,
investigating?
right. They invite you out to dinner, they're inviting you to birthday parties, they're inviting you to their homes. And of course, I go because I'm thinking, I'll go and learn some new facts for the case, right? But instead, I go and I make friends with the whole family.
It's a little hard to rat them out after they
E-
become your friend.
Exactly,
Okay, so
exactly.
this is you fresh out of college, realizing FBI agent you won't be, and that undercover lifestyle is just not going to work for you. What was the pivot? How did you make that shift?
So I knew that I wanted to do something with law or law enforcement. And I really wasn't sure. I mean, it's actually funny. I tell my sons now, I'm like, it's okay if you don't know, you'll figure it out because I did. And I ultimately decided that I was going to go work as a paralegal so I could explore the many different fields of law.
Hmm.
And it was actually really fascinating. In my work as a paralegal, I've worked at a law firm and I got to touch different aspects of the law and I got to interact with lawyers, with legal assistants, with paralegals, with the secretaries, et cetera. And I realized that I was like, you know what? I think I can do this law gig. I think I would actually make a pretty good lawyer. And I've always really cared about people and equity. So I was drawn towards that and ultimately decided after working a couple years as a paralegal, you know what? I'm going to take the LSAT. If I do well, I'm going to apply to law school. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow. So, how long after grad school did you enter law school? I'm sorry, undergrad.
Undergrad. Yeah,
You
yeah.
entered
It
law
it was
school.
about 2 to 3 years.
So you've been very strategic. You've taken your time, very responsible. Oh my God, talk about an older child. You, you really fit that stereotype.
Boss lady, right?
So you go off to law school and you studied at, where did you do law?
Seton Hall University School of Law in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay. And what type of law did you specialize in?
So I specialized in employment law. Go figure, right? All about the people. It's another funny, I guess, period of self realization. When I got out of law school, I went to a really great firm in New Jersey, and they put me in the general litigation department. And when you're in that department, you get to try all sorts of cases. And of course, because I'm a people person, I was drawn to the employment law cases. I didn't like any of the other cases. I mean, I did what I had to do, but I was always going back to the partner who ran the employment law team, going, "Hey, Martha, do you have some work for me? Hey, Martha, I want to work with you." And after I actually started to get my hands on a few of those cases, I realized that I actually really loved it. And I ended up leaving there after about 2 years to go to a law firm that was exclusively an employment boutique firm.
Mm.
So I was able to go there and grow my employment law practice and grow my skills there as an employment lawyer exclusively. And that was a really good place for me to be because it was all about helping organizations and people navigate people related issues.
So I am paying close attention to your trajectory here. And I heard you mention your boys,
Yeah.
and then I see you met your hubby. So I want you to tell us about how these boys came about because clearly there has to be
That's a
lost.
good that's a good question. So my husband and I actually we met in law school
Mm.
and God, we got married. I think I was about 1 year out of law school. And my boys are 20, 21, and 24. And it was funny, when the doctor told me I was pregnant with the third one, the second one was 7 months old. And I remember going, no, 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 no way. Please don't tell me there's another one coming. But I have to tell you now that I sit here, with these three amazing young men and I look at who they've become and how they've grown and just how engaging they are. I am blessed beyond blessed to have them. But to your question, Natalie, I mean, Mike and I really worked hard to work together to raise these boys, in a cohesive way as partners. He was a lawyer as well at the time. I was a lawyer as well, long hours, hard schedules, grueling expectations. So it was a lot of divide and conquer. It was a lot of, it takes a village. So engaging family members, childcare. We had all different sorts of childcare arrangements over the years to kind of meet us where we're at. At some point, we needed somebody who could just drive the kids around.
Mhm.
Whereas when they were younger, we needed more of help them with their homework, feed them a snack kind of thing. So we were very agile and recognized that throughout that journey, that 18 plus year journey with them, we were just going to have to pivot. I think the other thing that we had to realize, I don't think I realized it right away, but I definitely realized it by the time my third son was born, is that, nothing was ever going to be perfect. I was going to have to say no to some things, both personally and professionally.
Mhm.
And I got to a point where I realized, Michelle, stop trying to be a perfectionist in all of this. You can't be, this big wig professional lawyer and raise three kids and do it all perfectly. Like something's got to give. So I came to really get comfortable with, being agile, pivoting on a drop of a dime, and recognizing that, what, maybe everything doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to do our best, and give them all the support they need. And it all worked out because they are truly amazing young men.
That's awesome. And a boy mom on top of it all,
Yes,
all these
yes,
accomplishments and a boy mom. I couldn't help but notice their ages. So they're in college and one's probably in grad school. Real quickly before we go on to talking about Dress for Success, tell us
yes.
a little bit about what they're doing.
Oh, I'm so excited to do that. So, my 20-year-old is a sophomore at Yale University. He plays football there, and I'm so proud. I have to brag and say that in addition to playing football there, which to me feels like a full-time job, he actually was one of the top 5 academic grade students on the football team. We just found that out a couple weeks ago, so I'm super proud
Awesome.
of him. My middle son, Marcus, is a senior at Rutgers, and he is actually applying to PhD programs. He wants to be a neuropsychologist. He's
Oh,
fascinated by the brain, and psychology. So we have great discussions with him about that topic. And my older son, Miles, he actually is in sports management and strategy and innovation, for the Fenway Sports Group up in Boston. He went to Tufts University. He, like his mom, loves sports. He played football, up in Boston, and he found a great job at Fenway, and he is living his best life. I told him, I said, in my next life, I want to be you, because in addition to a great job, he actually gets to do a lot of fun stuff that comes with that job. So I'm watching him adult, and he's doing a really good job of it.
this is exciting because your love for sports clearly has spilled over into the boys, and you're still in love with sports because before you got to Dress for Success, Michelle, I see you spent some time over the Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that time, that transition, and then how you ended up over at Dress for Success.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to do that. So I'll just short circuit and say this: left employment law because I really didn't like litigating, went into, kind of diversity, inclusion, talent management, talent development, and loved all of that. So the opportunity at Major League Baseball was an opportunity for me to take all of my career skill sets and use them in one job. So my employment law skills, my HR skills, my DEI skills, my strategy skills, I was able to really put into being the head of people and culture at Major League Baseball. And again, given my love of sports, it was a really great experience. I entered that role at the height of the pandemic. I mean, the absolute height of the pandemic. I had left KPMG, which is one of the big four consulting firms. And, we had dealt with at both KPMG and in Major League Baseball with all of the stuff that was going on around social justice, Black Lives Matter, and being a leader in diversity at that time was really, really stressful. And there was a lot going on. Being a leader of HR at that time, trying to navigate the pandemic, was like not for the faint of heart at all. In both roles, and in having those roles in one job, you're carrying the weight of all of your employees right here. So as we started to come around the other side of the pandemic and my younger son went off to college, I actually decided, you know what? I think I need some time to myself. I think I need a career break. I've
Good.
been going hard. I've been grinding it out for 26 years. I just literally helped this organization get through this massive pandemic, this massive situation with social justice,
Mhm.
and all of that. And you know what? I need to hit pause. So I think I was one of those. I think you would call me a member of the great, I don't call it resignation, I call it the great reevaluation.
Yep.
And
Recognition.
I literally said, I remember telling my husband, I'm like, hey, Mike, you know what? I think I'm going to hit pause. And he was like, what? But you have a great job. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I need a minute. I need a minute. The boys are gone, and I need to take a minute for me. And it was actually interesting, Natalie, during that break, I realized that I'm coming around kind of that last chapter of my career,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to do something that had a direct impact on creating a legacy for the next generation. How can I actually do something where I am tangibly seeing the results and the impact on human beings immediately, directly? And as I was kind of going through that kind of self exploration process, I was presented with the opportunity for Dress for Success. And I will never forget reading about the job and doing some research on the organization. And boy, oh boy, I mean, actually, I get goosebumps as I talk about it because the organization really is about empowering women so that they can get on their feet, get good jobs, sustain good jobs so that they can become economically independent, right? So we are literally providing the service to women to give them job skills training, career development, help with their resumes, help with interview prep, mentorship, sponsorship, all of that. And yes, we give them suiting as well. A lot of people think about Dress for Success and they think about
Mm-hmm.
our clothing platform. But in addition to dressing women on the outside, we spend a lot of time dressing women on the inside through these programs. And the other thing that I found really exciting about this opportunity is a lot of folks don't know this either, but Dress for Success worldwide, I mean, it is a global organization. We have over 140 affiliates in 23 countries around the world. So on any given day, in any given country, our organization is literally having transformational impact on women's lives every single day. And they tell me this often. So I'm able to that wish that I had of helping those who are coming behind me, that wish that I had to see the direct impact of my work, I'm actually living it every single day right now.
You know, Michelle, it's interesting because as learned about Dress for Success in preparation to for meeting you, I was just taken aback. I had no clue this was a global organization. Yes, I know it's in many major cities across the country. And if you asked me, I would have said, sure, I'm sure they serve at least, 23 of the 52 states. That would have been my flip
Yeah.
response. But 144 affiliates, and you're in 23 countries.
Yes.
Tell me what you look like and in some foreign country far away, and what's the most remote country that you're currently serving?
Oh God. I mean, we're everywhere. I mean, we're in Nigeria.
Mhm.
We are in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica.
Ooh,
We
that's
are
my
in all right. I mean, yeah, we are in New Zealand. We're in Australia. We're in London. We are in Canada. We are Singapore. I mean, I could go on and on. And what we look like is, across all of these affiliates, some are big, some are small, some have smaller staffs, some have larger staffs. But at the end of the day, with the help of volunteers, with the help of corporate partners who fund us and support us, we are able to any woman who walks through the door, we are able to meet her where she's at and serve her with her point of need. So it may be, hey, I just need some clothes for an interview. But in many instances, it's, I need help getting myself prepared for the job search. I'm returning to the workforce and I need help getting ready to get back in. And we are literally doing everything from that career development, that job readiness, skills training, again, and then dressing her on the outside as well. So when she leaves, she's been dressed inside, she's been dressed outside. She has a network of support because she becomes a part of one of our professional women's groups, and she's with us for the long haul. And what's really cool is a lot of times this woman, all of these women, they come back and they are volunteers. They come back and they work for us, or they go out into their community and do exactly what we did for them. They do it for women and other folks in their community. So it's just amazing to see the cycle of transformation that comes from this. I mean, you talk about like God's work. This is God's work.
Now, this Dress for Success started in back in the 90s, if I recall, 1993 or
We are 20, yes, we are 25 years old. We just celebrated our 25th year anniversary.
in 25 years. Are you able to project to say how many people, how many lives you have touched Do you have a record
Yeah.
of that in those
Yeah.
25 years?
So we've tracked it to about 1.3 million women served over the past 25 years. And we're hoping to serve them and many more in the 25 years ahead.
Michelle, you joined Dress for Success in 2022. I'm
Yes.
sorry, you were off in the great, you're part of what I call the great reclamation, which is people reclaiming their lives.
Yes.
And you were off reclaiming your life and up pops Dress for Success. Let me ask this question. Is it what you expected? Did you think it was going to be a walk in the park? This is going to be easy. I could do this, half asleep on Monday and whizzing out on Thursday for the weekend.
It is, you know what? So it's what I expected with respect to the
Mhm.
women and the transformation. But what I didn't appreciate is how much, I mean, this is a business, right?
Mhm.
I've never worked in nonprofit before. And I did not appreciate, I mean, this is a business. We have to operate just like any for profit entity has to operate. We need strategic planning, we need to have a budget, we need to do all of those operational and organizational effectiveness things that you do in a for profit business. And that's the part, like, I knew it, but I think I underestimated it. So the good news is that I come from that background where I can bring those skill sets. So it's something that I'm able to definitely navigate around. But to your point, it requires the same extent of planning, organization, business, acumen and savvy that I had to execute when I was back in corporate. So that's the part, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate that. And the other thing people don't appreciate, I sure didn't, is how under resourced these organizations are, all nonprofits, but in particular, our nonprofit. And I will say this, I actually came to learn when I took this role on, I didn't know it, but women focused nonprofits are the least financially supported
Yes.
by donations and funders and all of that. I mean, we are the least funded. So we have the least resources
Mhm.
and all of that. So when I tell you the women and men who are working in and running our affiliates, and they are really savvy people who are operating lean, mean teams, getting it done and transforming lives every day. And that's why I say it is God's work, because I don't know, I honestly don't know how some of them do it. It's amazing. And the fact that they did it through the pandemic is just fascinating. I mean, this was a business where people were used to coming through the front door. There was no other way other
That
than
was going
coming
to
through
be
the front door.
That's my
Now,
next question, Michelle, because I feel like I'm about to bounce off my seats because we could be talking for another 20, 30 minutes. But real quickly, how did they manage the isolation, the restrictions, and now more than ever, people in need really needed during the pandemic? So,
yes.
how were you able to serve during that time? And how were you able to fund the business of serving the community that you do serve?
So everybody got real creative, and I love the creativity, and I call it the scrappiness. I mean, we got real scrappy. We got out there. So a lot of our affiliates decided, okay, the women can't come to us. We're going to go to them. I mean, I heard affiliates talk about getting in their cars, their minivans, their pickup trucks, whatever it was, and going to the women, going into the communities. And if it was, I'm going to put up a pop up tent over here and I'm going to have clothing available or a career center available, that's what we did. Going online virtually was a big deal. And it's actually funny. Today, as we speak, our virtual platform is just as active and engaged as our, in-person platform. So
Awesome.
we went to virtual. We went to go to the woman and meet her where she's at. And now, as again, hopefully we're coming around the other side of this pandemic, we're realizing, you know what? All of these options are good.
Feel good.
So we're going to keep them all.
Awesome. Tell us how we can stay connected,
Yes.
rather get connected, stay connected, donate, contribute, participate, and someone might be watching or listening who is in need of the services that you do provide.
Please absolutely check out our website, dressforsuccess.org. For someone who needs our services, you can find a listing of our affiliates there. We do have a location in Midtown Manhattan. We have a location in Queens, and we have a couple of locations in New Jersey if you're in the tri state area. But go to our website. You can find the list of affiliates if you need us. And then also, if you want to volunteer, if you want to contribute, be a donor, be anything in that nature, the website will direct you to all of that. But I encourage you to check us out. And you can also check us out on our social media pages. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram and Facebook.
Tell us what your Twitter handle is.
It is at Meyer-Shipp, Meyer underline SHIPP.
Got it. And where do we find you on Instagram?
I think I'm Shell Carey, CHELECARRIE.
But for Dress for Success, do they have their own
Yes, they
pages?
do. And it's literally Dress for Success Worldwide.
Fabulous. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what we can find on all platforms, Instagram,
Yes.
Facebook, LinkedIn,
Yes,
everything.
exactly. Dress for Success Worldwide. You'll see everything right there.
This is wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Michelle C. Meyer-Shipp. And she is an attorney, but more importantly for today, she is the CEO of Dress for Success Worldwide, making a difference. I'm going to say one suit and one class at a time,
Oh,
supporting women as they transform their lives. And they're doing it in a way that even contributes to their financial stability. I love the work you're doing, and we want to make sure we need to connect the whole woman with Dress for Success. So
yes.
thank you so much for joining us. We are delighted to have you as part of the whole woman family, and we look forward to supporting and connecting with you in the future. Thank you so much, Michelle. Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you. Merry Christmas. Thanks, Natalie. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. So, here at the Whole Woman, as we have amazing guests and friends chatting with us, we want to remind you it's a great time for gift giving. Lady Mist is available, and you can scan the barcode that's on the screen, or you can visit us at _whole woman on Instagram or Facebook, the Whole Woman page, or you can go to bit.ly/TWW Lady Mist. I'm Natalie B. McKenzie, and I wish you enough life to live, enough joy to give, enough love to share. I wish you enough. Good night.